Hey, YouTube. I hope everyone is doing okay. I hope you all can hear me. Not sure. Okay, yes, you can. So, anyway, you all, I am coming on, and when I do come on and talk about something in the beef sector, it's going to be objective. Um, and so, what seems to be going on is that the person who Rico was with is a stalker. Um, I guess Rico don't have locks on his windows, and this person is stalking him. According to Rico, he had friends over to the house, and this person was in the hallway. He wasn't. It's a control issue, I'm assuming. Um, and Rico said this was going on all morning. Obviously, he called the police, and unfortunately, the police um, I guess they don't take stalking same sex couples seriously, I guess. And so it's turning into something not good. It's a suggestion. People are grown. People do what they want to do. But all I'm going to say is, Rico, don't do anything that will get you in trouble. And Hershey, I don't believe you're saying this. And I really feel like blocking you at this particular point. It makes Rico no less of a man because he called the authorities. I would rather Rico call the authorities, Hershey, than be jailed at Rikers Island. So what you just said was pure ignorance and foolishness, because bad people are either dead or in jail. I don't, but you missed the point. You missed the point. You just said Rico, he's so bad, but he calling the police. You missed the whole point. And if anything, I'm glad he did call them. So there is a phone record, that he did, and that anything happens is in self-defense. But let me say this, you all. I am telling Rico, if he's listening, man, do not ruin your life over finding this person. T Breeze said, tell Rico to call Safe Horizons. Yeah, because Rico, if your place is not safe to stay in, I would find some place to stay in, because at the end of the day, you don't want to put yourself in a position, Rico, where you are incarcerated, where you don't have freedom. And I could not believe some people were saying, yeah, find him and you have your knife. And obviously, the police came and took some of the weapons, and he's only left with one knife. And I just think that's problematic. And I'm just saying that I don't want people to lose their freedom. So now T Breeze just said, tell Rico to call Safe Horizons. So Rico, I don't know if you know the number to Safe Horizons, but maybe you need to call them so they can get you help. Because Rico, it's not about you being chicken. It's not about you being tough and rough. It's about you living and being able to see another day. I know that you may be able to take care of yourself far as fighting, but see, it comes beyond that because you don't want a situation, Rico, where you lose. So hypothetically, say something happens to that young man and you win. Do you really win if you're in jail? Who wants to go through the whole situation of saying, well, was it in self defense or not? I just think that you need to be safe because it's about your freedom at this particular point. And I'm really concerned about your apartment not having locks on windows because in New York, that's pure dangerous. That is pure dangerous not having locks on windows because anybody can slide in your window. And so that's a concern there. And what he said to me and when I heard him say, I'm tired, I'm tired. So obviously, this guy is wearing you down and stalking you, and you're tired. And when you're tired, Rico, you don't think straight. When you're tired, you let those emotions get to you. And from what I last spoke with you, you're doing really well. You were trying to stop smoking, and that's going to take some time. Stop drinking, which is good. And I don't think that these situations and circumstances are going to really promote that because if you get stressed or if you're going through all of this stuff, then you go back and doing some things, yeah. But in New York, they cannot block fire escapes. Well, my thing is this: we don't have a problem with the fire escapes. My thing is if the windows aren't locking, according to Rico, and that's a problem because if it's not locking, then that means you can go out and somebody could easily come in and people were saying, well, don't you have a broomstick or anything like that? So I think that may be problematic. But yeah, I would really let the police officers know and to send someone or someone who could really help him in this situation. And you all, it's not about being chicken. I do believe in self defense. I really do. But when you know what you're up against and when you know what you're dealing with, and you know that people who have nothing to lose will cause you to lose everything, then you really have to think a different way. Because right now it's not about Rico's manhood or being tough or seeming weak or this. It's no, it's about him living in freedom. We don't want to see people go to jail. We don't want to see somebody not live to the next day, whether it's that young man or Rico. It doesn't really matter. So I think it's a safety concern, and I don't take it lightly. I don't think, and this is the thing, it's not really for entertainment. And I hope Rico is doing this so we will be aware of his circumstances and his situation. But this is not a click and view, ooh, what's going to happen next? Um, it's some serious stuff, and he seems very stressed. Um, and you know, yeah, I just hope that he does the right thing. That he does everything possible not to have to do any bodily harm to anyone, and really think through it of what needs to happen. And it's just and I want to say this too. And this goes for women, men, or anyone in a relationship. And I don't know if it's in this circumstance, but or what's going on, but sometimes we feel that people really love us because they're very protective of us or very territorial of us. And that's not always the case. A lot of it could be control. And It may seem cute starting off, but as it progresses, it becomes dangerous. And I'm concerned because Rico said that he's already had an altercation with this individual in the streets, and that person is continuing to come back. And I think that's a problem. And it sounds to me that Rico has done the police situation and all of this other stuff to no avail. So that's understandable. But I just think you got to be extremely careful. So I don't know if Rico is in the room or somebody knows where Rico is. But what I am going to say is, Rico, do everything possible not to have an altercation with this person. And I know people will say, oh, you can't call the police or you can't, but that's not the case. Because again, we have seen time after time when people have given folk advice that was not quite thought out. It's easy for people to tell you, do this, do this. But then when you are not here anymore or you lose your freedom, it's a whole nother story. So my thing is, before that situation happens, let's try to help people avoid those types of situations, because it's not good for anybody to be in the justice system, and we have to be very careful. Giselle said, I just put both numbers to Safe Horizons in Brooklyn in the comment section of his last video. And Giselle, I hope he calls them. And Giselle, if you want to, you can put that number in here. I don't know if Rico is on. I don't know if he's coming on. But trust me, Rico, look, everybody who's cheering you on ain't your friend. And some of these people really want a show. They really want a show. And I don't think that you should be people's entertainment with your life splashed all over so people can see and say, oh, look what he gonna do now. Because at the end of the day, people will send some little money for you, but it ain't nothing like your freedom. And my thing is, I would prefer that you be out of the system than prone to go into being in the system. And my thing is, use wisdom. I know you were talking about you were getting closer to God and some things like this. And I understand that people can piss you off and you can get a temper and you really want to go there with people. And this person is constantly harassing and bothering you. And you told the person, okay, it's a done deal. I get that. And I know you can be irritated. But my thing is, at all cost and all possibility to end this thing peaceably, do your utmost to do that. Because I would rather for cooler heads to prevail than you to provoke. And the next thing you know, you all are on the 10 o'clock news and you're somewhere incarcerated because of this. And that's just real. That's just real. And, you know, that's my thoughts on that. And it's always going to be your choice of what you can do, because it's your life. You're a grown man. But it's yeah, I just get tired of people egging folk on to do the wrong thing. You know, um, yeah, yeah. Because if somebody is no longer here because people feel inclined to listen to the audience, then that could be the blood on somebody's hand. And I'm not telling him to stand idly by and let someone break into his apartment and do what they will and all of this stuff. I just think it's critical. If this man stole money from you, whether it's $40, whether it's $100, then it needs to be reported. Press those daggone charges. Because again, that's another way of saying, okay, this person is not to be anywhere near my residence because they actually stole. And this is the only person in here. And do what you need to do. Try to do everything lawfully and legally, if possible. And I'm not saying that it's a perfect world, but my thing is I don't want to see your liberty snatched away and your freedom snatched away because of something that could have been handled a different way. My thing is think these things out before the emotions set in and you do something that you'll regret later on. It's easy to be in their emotions and hear what people got to say. Yeah, go get him. And, oh, yeah, if he do X, Y, Z and so on and so forth. And the thing is, if you're on the phone with the person, because I see that you were on the phone with the individual, look, it's over. Let's not do this. I don't want to see you in jail. I don't want to go. I think the best thing that we can do for each other right now is to really, really be apart from each other. You did something that I thought was wrong. I'm just only going according to what I've heard from him. You stole some funds from me, and it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And so, yeah, we're done. Maybe sometime down the line, we can kind of get this together. But right now, I'm going to need some space. And yeah, and the stalking is not good. And like I said, I do not know where this Safe Horizons is located. Giselle, if you want to put that down in the comments, you can, because if those people can really help him avoid something that can turn out to be detrimental to his livelihood and his freedom, by all means, put that number down. Um, I don't want to see somebody go to jail. I don't want to see somebody, you know, have an altercation where people are wounded. You don't want to see that kind of stuff. I know it's salacious. I know people do a lot of stuff, but let's try to keep people safe. Let's really try to keep people safe in the end of the day. And it's not about his toughness. I'm sure Rico can fight. I'm sure Rico can defend himself. I have no doubt that he can do that. It is no question in my mind that he can do that. But I don't think he's any less of a person, of a man, to try to avoid the conflict and keep his freedom and do what he needs to do. Now, I can see if the man comes in and all of a sudden, okay, because he's coming after me, but, this is the time where you got to tell that landlord, hey, Melissa, hey, y'all need to put some locks on this window because I've had a break in and this has happened. So again, you all need to do this. But in the meantime, you know, um, please, Rico, if you can see what Giselle X has put down about the safe horizons, please look at that and take that number down and call those people, and maybe they can really help you. Well, Chocolate Bell, you don't. That's what I'm saying. You don't own people. Um, wow. And I don't know if Rico could even stay with the girlfriend if that's the case. If that's the case, I don't even know if that can happen. But it's just, it's a life situation, but you got to know how to handle it. And what's scary about it is, and this is why I look at the police department with a side eye. If somebody calls you and say this person is stalking me and this is what's going on, I don't care what sexual orientation they are. So if somebody calls and say, "Hey, there is a man stalking me. This person was my ex. We're no longer an item. I have someone else. I've moved on, and this person is doing XYZ, and this person can't get over it. And I'm afraid that he is going to do something that's going to jeopardize the both of us. And maybe Rico needs to put it in that language so they can understand it." That's some serious stuff. And we're living in a day and age where when people have something like this, it needs to be um, dealt with. If they're not going to do it, and I'm going to say this, if they're not going to do it, then if that Safe Horizons can help him, hopefully um, he can get help from that. Because if he's truly with that young lady, I want him to be able to see her and not behind some acrylic wall up or some wall of glass or plastic where they can only talk on a phone because he's somewhere incarcerated because of this situation. So all I'm saying is I hope he takes the safe way out. I ain't judging nobody. It is not my place to do that. All I'm saying is let cooler heads prevail. Think this thing through. Think about what you need to do. Think about some people who can help you. You may have to stay with somebody until something happens or until they come in and fix your apartment window so you don't have that situation. Um, but yeah. And this is the thing. If you have evidence of this person stalking you, I think that you need to present that as well. Because all I will say is do everything and anything to keep your freedom and to keep you from harming someone that could jeopardize your situation later. And that's just wisdom. It's just thinking things through. Um, the brother said he wasn't sleeping. And when people are not sleeping and they're emotionally charged, they don't think right. They don't think right. And so I think people, if anything, needs to bombard Rico with some sound, wise advice. And I'm not saying that this man should be open for attack, but I think he should do everything to prevent this situation. And I think going out looking for this person to whoop them up is not going to do the trick. The sad part about it is you've already, according to you, fought this man, and this man keeps coming back. So it's going to escalate till somebody's really going to get hurt. And I think to save him as well as yourself, you need to kind of think of another strategy, because going to look for people is just, really ratcheting this thing up. And I just think that at the end of the day, you got to back up. You got to think clearly. And if you cannot get rest at your own home, then at least go somewhere for a little bit where you can. And I think the biggest thing is, if this man can get in your apartment, then who else can get in the apartment? And that's my thing. So your safety is at risk, period. Because if it's not him, it could be anybody to rob. It's New York. People will find a way. And I just think for your own safety, if that's a flaw in your home, that may need to be taken care of. Because if that's what he can do, then you better believe somebody else will be able to do it as well. So I think that needs to do that. Well, young MIA, why is he leaving the door unlocked on purpose? And I'm asking you because maybe you know something that we don't. But why is he leaving his door unlocked on purpose? And how do you know that he's leaving his door unlocked on purpose? And I'm not badgering you. I'm just really uh, trying to understand that and where you got that information. Thinking my A Rico has to want to save himself. New York has the resources. I posted where he could call, but the comment is no longer under his video. Well, young MIA, this is the thing. Why even bring it up? It's not badgering you, but my thing is, the question is why? And it seems to me, and like I said, maybe it's illogical to me, but maybe he has a logical reason for doing that. So I'm just asking you that, and you don't have to plead the fifth because you're not on the stand. This is not court. We're just trying to get an understanding of what you just said. You said Rico leaves the door unlocked on purpose. And I'm just asking why. And why would you think he leaves the door unlocked on purpose? That's all I'm asking. I just hope that he's okay. I hope that he gets some rest. I don't know the young man. Um, yeah, at least a year ago, at least a year or two ago, I told Rico about relocating to Florida. Here he could enter a rehab program where his substance abuse and mental issues could be addressed, but he would have to work. Okay. Rico did not want that. He wanted to live for free in New York. Well, let me say this, Giselle. And again, I'm still interested in young MIA's response. I don't think we're gonna get one, but see, that's why I have a problem. You say this and then you move on. But let me say something about Florida. Florida is great, but Florida's expensive, and it depends on what part of Florida. And and they don't pay well in Florida. I'm gonna say that they don't pay well in Florida, and I think the the climate, the atmosphere in Florida is not conducive to anyone who is gay, bisexual, trans, or anything else. I don't think Florida. I don't think it'll be personally a place for Rico at this particular point. Not with the governor they have, and who knows, that stuff may be cut with him because the political atmosphere down there is just not that great. And I'm sure that Rico could get help if that's the case. in New York because New York has a lot of resources as well. So, yeah, I don't know if changing the venue to Florida is going to help. So, but whether he works or not, I don't want to get off the topic because the bottom line is right now, he is looking stressed. He had some weapons, and I think they've taken them away with the exception of one. He's ready to go to battle. And when you are emotional, not sleeping, angry, upset, you don't think things through. And I think that's the focus. So, and let me say this, you can move and change your venue until you deal with your issue. If you confused in New York, then you're going to be confused in Florida. It's not the place, So, yeah, I'm sure they have those programs in New York. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand. But y'all, let me say this. Today and right now, it's not beat up on Rico day. It's not pile up on Rico because him being in this situation with this stalker is the problem. I think sometimes we pile up on folk and we look at what he could do. And right now, I get what you all are saying, but Rico could be working, still get with this person, and still get stalked. So whether he's working or not, whether he is industrious or lazy, it really has no bearing in this situation. The deal is that there's someone who can't let go and they're harassing him to the point where he doesn't feel safe. Obviously, he called the cops and they haven't handled this situation sufficiently. I hope he calls the Safe Horizons people that you all are mentioning, so maybe they could assist him. Because at the end of the day, I don't want Rico to put himself in a position again where he doesn't have any freedom, or worse, something happens to him where we don't see him no more, or that person who's stalking him is no longer in existence and he is incarcerated for something that could have been avoided in the first place. And I think that's the big issue. So whether he's lazy or not, I that doesn't tackle what we're dealing with now, because we're not talking about something that he could have done. We're talking about something that's happening now that's causing him a lot of stress and that's causing him to be extremely emotional, which pushes him into a volatile state, which the person could really be adversely affected. As we have heard him already say that he dealt with this in the street already. And if you whoop this person in the street and they still dealing with that, then if they're going to continue to come back, then what's going to get them to stop? And what may get them to stop may cost you your freedom or finance or being kicked off of your help, because now you may be a felon. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that go with this. And sometimes we only see short term and we don't see the long term situation. And that's all I'm trying to say. And if he does nothing else but breathe, think about this thing, think it through, that may be a help. But I know a lot of people will push him to do the wrong thing. And instead of taking alternative routes, they will push him to do the wrong thing. And then when he's incarcerated, then it's like, oh, it's so sad he got incarcerated. And my thing is, let's try to help him to prevent this. And since YouTube is where he goes, he reads the comments. Hopefully, people will give him correct information and useful information because, again, we don't need him to even get close to losing his freedom. That's all I'm saying. I think it's his ex. So I'm sure that he knows who this person is. So I think it's his ex. Hershey, that's understandable. But Hershey, we're not talking about what he's telling people to always do. We're talking about we want him not to get into any trouble, Hershey. See, you're getting emotionally invested saying what he always telling people they should pull up. We get that. But right now, that's not he's not fighting everyone. He's dealing with a person who's stalking him, who he wants them to leave him alone. So again, let's stop talking about what he did and let's talk about the present situation now. Again, let's not get off a track. Let's not have red herrings take us off of the focus of Rico. If you see this, put the knives down, put the weapons down, stop going looking for folk, do what you need to do everything possible to avoid a conflict that may jeopardize your well-being down the road. That's it. Hershey, 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 Hershey. You don't get it. Hershey, it seems like people you don't like or people you always do this with. And it's not the fact that he tells people to pull up. Again, this is not, and we're not trying to have a teachable moment right now. It is what it is. He's live now. All right. Well, let him know that think wisely and don't think with your emotions, but be logical because at the end of the day, you don't want to do anything that's going to jeopardize your freedom. And so that's what, if you can relay that message to him from me, I would appreciate that greatly. Because again, I don't have a problem with Rico or anyone. And we should always want to see people not get incarcerated and you know, lose liberty and freedom. And let me say this. Once you get that felony, it's like hell to get a job. And we know the closer that felony is, if it's recent, it's going to be harder to get a job. And yeah, and it may be a major mess if they say, well, you've committed this felony, so you don't keep these benefits. I mean, you just got to be careful. Well, Hershey, I don't see it the way you see it, but I don't think what you're doing is helpful. And my thing is, we're trying to keep a person from doing something they shouldn't do. And you're telling me, well, what they have done. And that's great, but that's not helpful. And again, how can we keep the brother from doing something that could adversely affect him? That's all I'm saying, Hershey, because you really have a really kind of, yeah, your disposition sometimes is just really not helpful, to be honest. You bringing up stuff, but he always tell people to pull up, but we're not dealing with a pull up right now. It's a different thing. And of course, Blazing said he don't want to work. Well, Blazing, you don't get along with him either, and we understand this, and we understand. But I'm not with the petty. I'm not with the, well, he don't want to work anyhow. It has nothing to do with him being stalked. And see, that's what we get off again. who gives a damn if the man is working or not? It's the situation at hand. Itsy bitsy. I'm going to leave that in the hands of law enforcement, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. Well, see, this is the thing. If you don't like them, that's fine. It's fine. But my thing is, again, I don't want people to go to jail because they're so emotionally charged and they're doing things that might jeopardize their freedom. So whether he works or not, or what he did in the past, that's that's totally different than the here and now. And that's all I'm saying. Yeah, Haitian Princess, I think it is. And like I said, I am not pushing folk to do stuff that could adversely affect them. And with this situation, and let me say this, Rico is grown. He's going to do what he wants to do. He is. But I think sometimes we got to be careful in how we push people to do things or go get them or make sure that you handle him. Yeah, go find him. Don't go in the streets looking for the man, you know, um, because then it makes you look like you're provoking the person and that you want it. And then, you calling people saying that this person is stalking me and so on and so forth. And again, the person can come back and say, well, hell, you've been stalking me. You're looking for me. And you see, again, things can be turned around. You just got to be careful with that. And people are doing something for a reason. There's a motive for this. There is something that this person is trying to get out of him. And again, sometimes when you give people this kind of attention, it's better than none at all. And I will take whatever you can give me as long as I can get it. And I think you have to look at it from all sides of it. And like I said, I'm not saying that people should not have self-defense in mind, but that should be the a last resort. That should be the ultimate last resort. The ultimate last resort. And that's all I'm saying with that. The ultimate last resort. Yeah. Yeah. Um uh, no, hold on for a minute, you all. Oh, Jesus. I just it's sad, you all, but oh Lordy. Yeah, hey love Blake, how you doing? Yeah, and like I said, I don't have a problem with if you don't like him, fine. You don't have to like folk. You really, really don't have to like people. And I get that. But again, this is not a this is just not something. Yeah. She's doing well. She's doing well, you all. Give me a minute. She's doing well. Hold on for a minute, you all. Give me a minute here. And you all, let me say this. And I, and people really make up their own minds to do what they want to do. But I do think that there has to be a voice of reason. Um, and and we should be trying to keep people safe and at least say, hey, people, there's another way to handle this. And I just think that sometimes the wrong influence pushes people to do things, and it doesn't help anyone. And people get joy out of that. And then I kind of wonder with people who, yeah, hold on for a minute, you all. And I don't think it's a babying the grown person, but sometimes you see things. Give me a quick minute, you all. Yeah, Alana, I kind of got that. I kind of got it was his ex boyfriend. And I think people have been saying that. So yeah, I get it. Give me a minute, you all. I'm looking up something right now. Hold on. Okay, I'm back, you all. I'm reading the comments. You know, um, let me let me say this, you all. Yeah, he's a grown man. He's a grown man. But this is what I want you all to understand. There are forces that push people to do things that are not right, that are not right. And there are other people who say, hey, I'm going to be a voice of reason. Whatever Rico does is his decision. But let it be known that everybody who's on YouTube is not pushing people to do the wrong thing. I am not trying to convince you all that he's a grown man. I'm not trying to convince you. How many times have I been on here at the time and I'm like, hey, man, come on. Now you can't blame the lady for not doing, that's your responsibility. And I get it. So I'm not dumb to really what's going on. I'm not. And I'm not trying to convince you But my thing is, it's called a voice of reason. We know the situation. We know the situation. We know that this is an ex lover. We know that it has not gone right. And this is what's going on. What happened in the relationship is happened. But my thing is, nothing is this serious to lose your freedom over. When you assault someone, you go to jail. And this man could be very well stalking Rico. But if Rico is doing the whooping of tail, then he could easily go to jail. That's what I'm trying to get you all to understand. And sometimes people don't get it. And this is what happens. Jay, how do you know Rico is smoking crack? Did you actually see him with the crack pipe? Did you actually see this, or you're going over from what a jilted lover has said? So my question to you, Jay, is how do you know that Rico is smoking crack? What is your concrete proof? Because he been drinking coffee. So Jay said he said it in the video. It was from his lips. Which video, and when did he say it? And did you witness it yourself? And I'm asking, and again, Jay, the only reason why I'm saying this, because we know in this sector, people say things and it's just like, are you serious? So you said, he said it in the video, it was from his lips. So my question to you is, I'm assuming from what you said, you heard it from his lips and you actually saw it. And how long ago was this? Hmm. So Jay said, and let's not act like he don't look like a crackhead. So drug and alcohol is used much differently. He posted a new video called Real Life Stalker. Okay. Now let me say this, Jay, and let me say this to you all. I'm not coming at you all. But when you're accusing somebody of doing this, I'm going to ask you why and how. And you all said that you all saw it. Well, somebody said it's deleted now. So, but I just want to make sure. So when I do this, it's not like I'm attacking you, but I want to make sure that you saw it because again, I didn't know if it came from the lover or if it came from him. And I just want to make sure. It's not on because I'm on the page now and it's not there. So obviously it must have been deleted. But how many did anybody else see that? So Chocolate Bell, did you see it as well? And I'm just trying to get bases here. Did you see it as well, Chocolate Bell? And I'm only trying to get bases. I am not trying to and again, Jay, no, hold on for a minute. Jay, Jay, I'm not saying that you're a liar, Jay, but I'm going to trust and verify. That's all. So I don't want you to be defensive with me because, again, I want to make sure that you all heard it. And I'm not saying that you're a liar, but I'm going to trust and verify. So that's how I am, and that's what I am doing. So again, I'm making questions because we've had so many people to say somebody has done this and the third, and then it's not true. So I'm not saying you're a liar. All I'm saying is just verify. My thing is, if you say the man is a crack addict, you just tell me, well, I saw it on his video. And again, I can get that, but I'm asking these questions because I don't want to go out and say, oh, he did this and again be out there. So that's all I'm doing. So Shaka LaBelle said, oh my God, Rico posted a short video 30 minutes ago. Okay. Yeah, trust but verify. The video is still there. I heard the stalker say, go smoke crack. Rico was like, not with you. I don't really believe it. Um, which one, you all? Okay, I'm here. And let me say this. Let me say this, you all. Let's say that he is doing this, then it is a problem. And oh, okay, hold on. I see it. Give me a minute, y'all. Give me a minute. Hold on. Give me a minute. I see it. No, I got it. Hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, let me say this. I am not convinced. I'm not convinced right now. With the crack thing. I don't know if it's just Rico saying that because he's pissed off at the guy. Now, I'm not going to I'm not going to say, "Oh yeah, I heard it." And it can be taken a lot of ways. It can be taken a lot of ways. It can be taken a lot of ways, but when people are arguing, when people are fighting, when people are saying so on and so forth, I don't know about that one, you all. And again, I don't want to stretch stuff. I heard what the man said, and I heard what Rico said, and it sounds like it's coming from a place of anger, and I don't know if that's the case. I'm gonna listen to it one more time. Give me one more minute. So this is the thing. Um, Let me say this. People say a whole lot of stuff. I am not saying that Rico does or not. I don't know. And let me tell you where I'm going with this. I have seen Rico smoke weed. I've seen Rico drink, but I have never seen Rico do crack. Um, I'm reminded that Tim Duncan had a wife who said he was gay, and that the basketball friend of his, who was a college friend of his in Wake Forest or wherever he played basketball, was staying in the guest house, and she accused him of being gay because they were going through an ugly divorce. So I'm just saying that that guy could be very much saying that at the end of the day, at the end of the day, he could be very upset and said that and know that they are filming and they're doing the camera. And so I heard what Rico said, but it sounds more like whatever. And it could be like, you ain't getting this. It could be the penis. It could be a lot. Now, I will say, I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, is that what you're doing? Because again, the guy don't look all wrapped tight, but who am I? Um, this is the deal though. I said deal though, not dildo, but this is the deal though. let me deal though, not dildo, but deal though. Whether they did crack or not is still not the point. And, and again, we get caught up off of crack. I don't think that Rico has done crack. I think they're arguing, but who's to say that they didn't or not? But let me go right back to it again. Whether they did crack or whether they did not do crack, you're stalking him. He wants to be left alone. Move on. Crack, weed, or alcohol, the person is saying, move on. So again, leave him alone. And see, we get caught up with, oh, he doing crack. Well, okay, I've heard the video. I don't think they did. But if they did, you still need to leave the man alone. The man doesn't want to be stalked. Y'all get what I'm saying? Y'all understand what I'm saying? So again, whether he did crack or not is besides the point. If we did crack last week, we ain't doing it this week because I don't want you anymore. Move on. Do you see what I'm saying? Because again, we get off on stuff and it's like, okay, the man said leave him alone. And I'm going back again to my first line of thinking. Rico, don't confront that man anymore. You have told him that you don't want to deal with him anymore. You have put it on video. You have ample evidence to say that I have been telling this person to leave me alone. Now, I don't know who this Safe Horizons is, but please let them know because we're seeing that this man is bothering you. And I get it, but this person love for you or whatever it was now is turning to something else. And the more you reject him, the more he's going to cut up. And if you don't want to be with him, you need to avoid him at all costs. And if he continues to come, then you need to do that. And I'm not saying to Rico that he should not defend himself, no means. But at the end of the day, this dude got issues. And you need to keep yourself out of prison or jail dealing with this. Because people who don't have nothing to lose will cause you to lose everything. And even if you got a little bit, am I making myself clear? Because my thing is, whether man smoking crack or not, whether Rico participated with him allegedly or not, I ain't never seen Rico with no pipe. This is this man's word and saying this. But Rico ain't stalking the man. The man is stalking Rico. And my thing is, whether it was crack or drugs or anything involved, it's besides the point. My thing is, I don't want you to go to jail. And I think that you will get emotionally entangled to the point where you get rage and want to lash out on this person. And it may cause you to lose your freedom and somebody to get seriously hurt or fatally wounded. That's what I'm trying to get at. So, I know people are throwing this out. He need to work or he doing drugs. And I don't know that. All I hear is a man throwing some accusations, and it sounds like Rico is saying whatever, whatever. Yeah, I hear you. Well, I'm not doing it with you. I don't know. Now, I'm not doing it with you could be I'm not having relations with you anymore. I don't know. And again, I'm not trying to say, I'm not saying, and I understand what y'all heard the man say. And what I'm trying to say is whether they are doing it or not, whether that man just threw that out there so he could look crazy or not, the bottom line is, Rico, do everything possible not to lose your freedom. If you don't get nothing else from this video, don't do anything that could jeopardize your living situation. Don't do anything that could jeopardize your benefits. And don't do anything that will jeopardize your freedom. Do everything to avoid conflict and do everything. I mean, self-defense in that situation should be the last resort. Not to say it shouldn't be a resort, but it should be the last resort. And you got to think straight. You have to think logically. Take some time to really reflect of the long-term strategy. Short-term may be to whip his butt and do that, but short-term always gets you in trouble. Think about your long-term game. And that's all I'm saying about that. Y'all talking about someone, he always in these situations. I'm not concerned about where he's always in. I'm concerned about where he is now. Again, always that see, well, he need to work or he's doing this or he's always telling people to pull up. Let's think logically. I understand what you all are trying to say, but Rico, think about your long-term situation. Don't do anything that's going to jeopardize your benefits. Don't do anything that's going to jeopardize your housing. and don't do anything that's going to jeopardize your freedom. And this man could be very well trying to get you to do that. Now, you've already said that you've had an altercation with him, which is a little alarming to me because again, that man again, have we not learned from Jonathan Majors? That man can go out and say he assaulted me in the street. Now, Rico, I ain't trying to be shady, but baby, if folk could get a cat, baby, if people could say you done hit a cat and it caused you some grief, think about a human being. I want you all to think about that. And I know it sounds shady. I know that seems, but if people can do that, think about a human being. And Shelley, I just mentioned that. And again, people are telling Rico he needs to call Safe Horizons, and hopefully, Safe Horizons can help him with that mental space. And I would really call Safe Horizons because they can document that this person called us in distress. And see, you need a paper trail for yourself. So when the police department say we ain't doing this, you can have a mental health counselor or whatever they do at Safe Horizons document that, because they have to document that. And again, if something were to go on, they can say, well, this person reached out to us because this is what they were going through. And you all, I know that some people got a lot to say, but again, it's easy to be a part of the problem, but it's different to be a part of the solution. And my thing is give people advice that will help them to live. And I know a lot of people are upset because it's easy. And I'm going to say this because, back in the day, yeah, but it's easy to say, "Oh, Rico," and go off and da 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 and do X, Y, Z, and this is that. That's easy. But see, I really don't hate folk, and I really don't want people in a bad place. And again, you can either be part of the problem or part of the solution. And my thing is, we shouldn't want anybody to go to jail. We shouldn't want anybody to lose a place. And I know y'all can say, well, Rico is doing this and Rico is doing this and that. And I'm really not focused on the past. I'm focused on the present and the future because, he's trying to learn from his past. But my thing is, moving to Florida ain't gonna do no good because he's in a situation now. Telling me he's always telling people to pull up ain't what we're talking about right now, because what I'm saying is if you can hear this now, think logically and all of this stuff. So all of this extra stuff, I understand what you all are saying. Even the crack, because the man said he was on crack. We gonna run with it and say, well, Rico is on crack because that man said he on crack, and Rico said, well, I ain't doing it with you and everything, and not knowing the nuances, or if Rico just shooing the man off. But let's hypothetically say that the man is on crack. If he's on crack and say don't stalk me, then don't stalk him. Whether he on crack or sober, it don't matter. I don't want to be bothered with you. Please move on and stop stalking me, because whether he's on crack or not doesn't give the person the right to stalk. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. I'm concerned that in the end, that this man can climb through a window. See, that brings up some safety concerns to me. So what are they doing? And this is what I say to Rico. I'm concerned because of that, because if that man can get in, who's to say that somebody else couldn't get in? Who's to say that that man couldn't say, well, hey, I know a place where you can get in and get this and get this. So that's my concern right there. Your place ain't stable. And that's the issue. So yeah. Yeah. Well, My thing is this, December baby, you can either be a part of the problem or a part of the solution. And when I see people telling him to don't let nobody punk you and all of that stuff, that's a problem because he's in a situation now. And like Shelley said, a headspace that he could follow that. And then when he does that, those people are nowhere to be found. They'll send a couple of dollars for some commissary or try to get a little bail. But again, my thing is let's try to keep Rico out the situation so we won't have to post bail in the first place. How about that? See, that's what I'm saying. So let's not have him to have to post bail or do anything in the first place. Well, Chocolate Bell, I understand. But see, this is the thing. You can't get side gated by sensationalism and what people say because the topic is still at hand. He doesn't want to be stalked and he wants to be left alone. And I think that if something were to happen, I think Rico really need to call all of those resources and say, hey, because at the end of the day, you have a paper trail. This young man did call us. He did do XYZ. He told us what was going on. And they may really be able to help him. That's all I'm saying, you all. It's not sensationalistic over here. It's not, oh, he gonna get him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because even when somebody say that he was on crack, okay, so you told me that, I listened to it. I don't necessarily think he's on drugs, but who knows? But if he were on drugs, hypothetically, does he still need to be stalked? And that's the true nature of it. He said, leave me alone. Don't come over here. He said it explicitly. So if you don't live there, and if your name ain't on the lease, then you need to move on. Now, I'm going to say this though. He really does need to make a police report and a restraining order. I really do. I really do. I really do. I really do think he needs to do a restraining order. But not only that, you all. Now this is another problem, and I'm just thinking of it. Hopefully Rico did not let this man get any mail or anything to his house because we know from YouTube history what people do because they'll start squatting at your house. And baby, don't think the folk, let me tell you something. Don't think them people from New York don't know how to squat at folk houses. And see, that may be another issue. But because he's out, that may be a different situation. But you know, it's serious stuff, y'all. I mean, and again, hopefully this is a lesson learned to people. You know, you just got to be careful with people. I don't know if this man was territorial. It seems like he was. Now y'all said that Rico got a girlfriend because he's bi. I didn't know all of that, but if that were to be true, he has a right to say, I'm done. People can get emotional with it and cuss folk out, but when people say leave, you need to leave. You know, you got to have a paper trail. Yeah. Hey, T Breeze, you got to have a paper trail. And my thing is, I'm more concerned about Rico putting hands on that man because because you can stalk, but again, that man can go put a report on Rico. And this is the thing. And this is why I want Rico to really be thinking about this. You know, Rico, if you telling everybody that you did this to this to this dude, and I get that, and you got to be careful with that because sometimes you incriminate your own self. You know, you incriminate yourself, and you got to realize that just as sure as you have that man stalking you, if you put your hands on that man, he is just as liable to get you. And let me tell you what can really happen here. And I hate to say it, but I'm going to be quite honest. Whoever gets to the court first will have first dibs. But at the end of the day, y'all both can go to jail. Him for stalking you and you for putting hands on him. Y'all got to be careful. I just think people got to be careful. So again, you all, it's reason here. I am not judging Rico. I haven't called Rico out of his name. I know a lot of you all don't like him because I've already seen that you all said that he was on crack. Well, I don't know that. I didn't see him. All I heard was this guy said he was, and all I heard Rico was flippantly saying, and I'm listening to nuances that, yeah. Now, am I saying he did it or did not? No, I don't think he did. I could be wrong. But I didn't see it, you didn't see it, and it's just some nuances there. So I'm not going to accuse that man of doing that. Number one, um, he ain't working, or that don't, or he done told people to pull up. Oh, okay, yeah, I got that, but I'm concerned about him. And again, let's not lose sight of it. I know Rico is grown, and we're not telling Rico that he must do this. We're hoping that he chooses the right path so he can stay free. And if nothing else that I'm doing here tonight is saying, Rico, keep your place of residence, keep your benefits, and keep your freedom. Be wise. Don't let people push you into circumstances that is not a promising one in the end. Think about your long term. The short term may say whip his behind, but that may put you in a bind. Think about your long term situation. Because let me tell you something, I would rather you to live another day than sit up here and play this role because you don't want to seem weak in front of these people and wind up at Rikers Island where it's going to even be worse. And that's just being real. And that ain't judgmental. It's just saying pick the right decision. Be thoughtful. Don't be irrational rather. Don't run into things without thinking it through. And that's all I'm saying on tonight, y'all. Okay. Now let me say this. Chocolate Bell, if that's still true, then deal with it another way. If the man said he don't want to be with you no more, move on. See, we're well, Rico did okay, move on. That means he don't want you. That means it's time to move on. I'm not saying that what he did to you was right, if that's the case. But stalking him is not going to bring him back. And if you value who you are, you don't want to be with somebody who is going to do that because it's not a lasting relationship. Move on. Obviously, he has, and you need to. Yeah. So it's just a lot of things, you all. I'm sorry. Again, this is not bash Rico. This is not. It's none of that. Last time I spoke with Rico, he seemed like he was in a good space. He said he was getting counseling and he was getting help, and that was good. And we celebrated that. And I thought that was a big achievement. I am not getting ready to go back now and say, oh, Lord. And no, because again, I hope that he gets back on track. I hope that this is just a blip and he can get back on track. It's easy to tear him up. It's easy. And don't get me wrong, during the entertainment portion, it was low hanging fruit. And I'm telling you, I don't hate people. I really don't. And I don't take stuff personally. But it's 2024. And I know people are tired of hearing me saying it's 2024. And there's always a time for change. And I don't care who you are. It's easy to revert back and say, oh, we're going to tear him up, or, oh, this is some content and XYZ. And yeah, I get it. But it is 2024. And when we see stuff like this, we need to talk and say the right things that are going to help people through their time of difficulty, not to entrap them, to put them back where they were. This is why I am not getting off on that crack thing. This is why I'm not getting off of, he always tell people to pull up and all that. No, I want Rico to retain his home, his benefits, and his freedom. And if you don't get anything out of that, it is what it is. So, well, Bev Dutton, let me say this. It is. And whether it's acting or whether it's real life, it's a real situation. And there are some real learning lessons from this. And again, we need to think, because again, we can get very side gated or we can get off track by the situation at hand. And that's all I'm saying today. And he is a grown man and he's going to make his own decisions. But let it be for the record that we over here not giving him stuff that will adversely affect his life for the worse later on, if nothing else. Okay. And I get it, you all. Look. The window don't lock. That's a safety concern. See, I'm telling you, that's a safety concern. I'm more concerned, again, that his windows don't lock. Because not only can that guy get through the window, but anybody else can get through the window. You see where I'm getting? So, number one, that's a problem. Your house is not secure. And I think the stalker has proved that you need to do those things. Whether the state is paying for it or not, you still need to live in a safe place where people just can't walk in your house. That says a lot right there. You can't sleep. That means you can't think right because now you're up and you're always on edge. So that's a problem. The man stalking you, it's an issue. So what you did may not have been right ethically, and it may have hurt his feelings, but again, you got to move on, and hopefully people he learns that you got to treat people a little better, because again, you don't know what people are capable of doing, and people may stalk you, and today it may be a stalking, but tomorrow it may be something else, so you got to be careful. That's on Rico's side, but that's a lesson that we can all learn, period. But my thing is, it doesn't give the person the right to stalk you, though. Beth, it's a lot of things. It is a lot of things. And hopefully we think about this in a critical manner. But the bottom line is keep your place. And let me tell you something, Rico. And again, this is no slight to you. And I didn't call you out of your name. But Rico, folk don't like drama in their buildings. And people are prone to want to get you out. First of all, you're a black man. And you're a black man, and all people got to say is, "Oh, he's been in trouble," and it's always drama. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. Yeah, people stealing money. It's a lot. And my thing is, if the man sold your money, then press charges. It's just a lot. So you all, my thing is, let's do things to keep people from doing harm to themselves. You know, it's a lot of things that people tell folk, and it's not right. Yeah, yeah, that's correct, December baby. So, Rico, you're not judging you, not beating you up. Absolutely not. I am not saying that you are on crack. I know some people try to throw that out there, but I ain't never seen you with no pipe. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's besides the point. I don't know if you working or not, but that's besides the point. I don't know all of that. The point is that someone is stalking you. And I think you need to be very careful of how you approach them, because a lot of this could be to entrap you. You done hurt me, so I'm going to get you back. And I'm going to do everything to piss you off. And once you hit me, and this is why you got to be so careful, because I'll turn that back on you. And Rico, you got to realize that people try to entrap you as well. You got to realize that. And as much as you want to lash out and show this guy who he don't mess with me and da 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 da, that does nothing, because again, what if that gets you taken out of your house? What if that gets you taken off your benefits? What if that gets you locked up and you lose your freedom? And it's not worth it in the end. It's not worth it in the end. It's not worth it in the end. And and y'all, I don't know if it's a money grab or not. See, it's a lot of things, and I am really not here to judge or not, because again, it's your money, and if folk want to give him money, that is their business. It don't have nothing to do with me. How people give ain't none of my business. If it's a money grab, it is what it is. After watching Manasseh Jordan run that thing and trauma bond with them people and get their money, I ain't mad at nobody, because again, if it ain't your money, don't worry about it. And if you don't feel compelled to give nothing, don't. That's the bottom line. That's the rule for that. But let's not get sidetracked on what's really going on. And that's all. So look, you all, it is, I've been on for an hour and 35 minutes. There's a lot going on, but we have to be reasonable. And I'm not saying Rico is a good or bad person. I'm not saying, all I'm saying is, Rico, think about your long term goal. And I keep repeating it because I want you to really get it. Short term is going to get you some instant gratification, but it doesn't always add up in the long run. In the long run, you really got to think about this thing. Yeah, and you're right. You're right, S. Hutchinson. And playing with these people. And like I said, it's the Hunger Games. And let me say this: I don't want to mess up nobody's excitement and like for drama. If you like drama, do the drama. But if somebody's on a different journey, and if they don't do drama anymore and they do logic and reason and try to help people, then that's what it is. And so, again, you're either part of the problem or part of the solution. And I choose in 2024 to be part of the solution. And even if people don't take the advice, it was always there. And hopefully, we can learn something from this. It may be the new calling, it may be what I'm supposed to do. Because again, it's easy to do XYZ and say they should have done this and this and the third and da 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 da. And I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying and making a suggestion that you think about your long-term strategy and short-term strategy, and whether Rico does it or not, it's his business. But like I said, if people can throw out harmful information that could cause somebody to really jeopardize their liberty, I think I have every right to say, I want to throw out something that's going to be helpful and maybe keep them out of jail and keep them living. So if people can throw out that, shouldn't I be able to throw out some things that may be beneficial to them? I'm just asking y'all. I'm just asking. And I have not called out any content creators. I haven't called out any names of people. I just think that it is wise because at the end of the day, people can tell you a lot of things, but they will not spend any jail time with you. They will not say, hey, let me volunteer to go into jail with you. You'll be doing that by yourself. And my thing is, while they're trying to send you commissary and get bail, hell, they could have saved that money and helped you get out the situation if they want to give money. If they want to give money. So those are my thoughts. So anyway, at the end of the day, everybody has his or her decision to make. It is their decision. I am not trying to force anything on people. All I'm saying is stop, think about it, be logical, don't be irrational or rash and hasty in this thing. Scriptural wise, it says be slow to speak, quick to listen, and slow to anger. And that's the truth. Quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. And that's Bible. That ain't Jay Wilson, that's Bible. And you gotta be that, because sometimes you just want to turn around and just bam. And it's not always advantageous to do so. So am I wrong or right? And I'm just asking now. And if I'm wrong, tell me why I'm wrong. If I'm right, tell me why I'm right. If you mix, tell me. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to bed too, Shirley, because it's about 12:30 and I got some things to do tomorrow. But what are your thoughts on this before I leave out? I want to hear some thoughts before I leave out. What do you think about this tonight? Do you think that the suggestions were appropriate? Do you think they're too lax? Do you think they're too stringent? I mean, I ain't gonna get mad. And like I said, for those people who I asked those questions, I'm not questioning your truthfulness or not. Trust but verify. And if you said something, I just need to know where it is or where you saw it. I'm not saying that you're a liar, or I ain't trying to say that. But in 2024, you just got to make sure that if you say it, you can back it up, or you have some type of concrete evidence. And so when y'all said y'all heard it, and then you told me where I could find it, which I appreciate it, because I'm telling you, I'm really not running these streets like that, but I do it. So yeah, somebody said, child, I hope it's not true, but I just heard, girl, child, I hope it's not true, but I heard James say the guy hit home with a chain with a lock on it. Oh my God, today. My God, today. See y'all. Mm, 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 mm. My God, today. Okay. No, no, Haitian princess. I think you are coming from the position of I'm concerned, and all human life is valuable, and everybody deserves, some. Everybody deserves respect. And oh Lord, I just hope that's not true. But I'm telling you, y'all, these people, we just don't know what these people are capable of. We just don't know. Hold on for a minute, y'all. We don't know what these people are capable of. Hold on for a minute. This is why you got to always be careful. Lord have mercy. Now, I don't know if this is to be true. I hope it's not, but you just never know. Never know. Hold on for a minute, y'all. Give me a minute. Oh Lord, hold on for a minute, y'all. Okay, y'all. Well, I'm going to bed. My position has not changed. And again, there's a lot going on. and there's lessons to be learned, and it's interesting. And so I'm neutral. Um, think about your long game. And I'm going to say this: don't let these people push you to do something that you'll regret later. Don't let people push you into something, whether friend or foe. Think about your long term game, because again, words are only this, and people can say this and all of this and all of that stuff. But you don't have nothing to prove to nobody. And that's all I'm going to say. Um, you can keep your life off YouTube, but even if it comes on YouTube, you better make sure that you follow your long term game. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Spill It Boy or Trace Your Lane is on, and it's really interesting. But like I said, I'm going to bed. I saw what I saw, and those are my words. And that's it. So y'all have a good night. Peace and love. Y'all take care.